What's up, fellas and fellettes? You know, in 1889, W.R. Case and his three brothers started a business with the help of their dad. Case, what's going on? In 1889, W.R. Case and his three brothers started a knife company. And based on hard work, quality, they were successful. They went out into the community and the countryside selling knives out of the back of their wagon. It shows you the hard work, quality, and perseverance pays off. But I wonder if they're rolling in their grave right now. So you ask Cornbread, what's going on? What are you talking about? Well, let me start by saying this is not a clickbait video. This is not a shock and awe video. This is not something designed just to get people to click on it and watch it. That'll be nice if it happens. If not, I'm good with that too. But this here video is about this. When I saw this little fella with the black and green layered carbon fiber handles on it, I was like, oh my Lord. Then you add, it's a copperhead with two of the greatest blades ever. I was like, I gotta get one of those. So the search began. That carbon fiber looks like you can reach down into it and untie it, don't it? It's really cool. Well, I'm more of a knife user than a knife collector, but y'all already know that. Let me show you where the problem come in. If you look at the edge on this side, it's a lot higher on the back than it is on the front, and it's real low in the middle. Not a huge deal, right? Look at the back side of the blade, it's pretty darn even. When you look at the pen blade, nothing really to nothing to fuss about too much. It's got one ultra gnarly barb on it, burr on it. But I can take that off. No big deal. A little stropping action. But this Wharncliffe blade had me a little ticked off. Because see, it was sharpened really high here, fairly high here, and none in the middle. The bottom of the blade, the edge of the blade was actually flat. And what you're seeing, it's hard to tell now because I've already been working on it. But what you're seeing is after I've already spent some time working on this thing. Now, is it like, oh, that's a horrible knife? No, it's not nothing like that. Nothing at all. Take my time, do a really good job. About an hour-ish so. This thing will be razor sharp and like nothing's wrong. But it's a brand new knife. That blade looked like a kid had sharpened the two ends doing this and just totally missed the middle of it. And by the time I get done tonight, Terry and him will say it's going to be jam up and jelly tight. But how in the world does something like that make it past inspection and quality control? I mean, really, come on. And that leads me to some other things that I want to talk to y'all about. Let's go in the shop and sit down with some coffee. Now, I talked to a buddy of mine, fellow YouTube creator, and he said, oh man, you're not going to find any perfect knives, and that's not a big deal, and yada, yada, yada. But he saw it after I worked on it. Folks, the center of the edge on this blade was flat. Mm-hmm. And this isn't the first time I've had issues. This knife, this is a full-size trapper in a smooth green apple bone. And I went to my local case dealer, and I went through every one they had. The blade centering on this one was strike three straight down Broadway in the middle and all that other good stuff. One side of the case logo wasn't raised up where you could feel it, and the other side sunk down in there at 1/16 of an inch like the others were. This one was good. I need to clean it up too, by the way. And the blades on this are pretty much darn near perfect. So I bought the knife. And next up, it's the Case Longhouse. I'm in love with this knife. I mean, I'm in love with this knife. This has climbed the ranks to pretty much my favorite modern slash traditional style knife. I love this thing. The 20 CV blade, everything about it I absolutely love. This knife was gifted to me by somebody who wants to remain anonymous. And once again, I'll say thank you. Thank you. But there's a fellow YouTube creator who also bought one of these and has some issues. Now, he was saying on his, the liner lock would fail with like 5 pounds or less of pressure put on it, and the blade will fold up on your fingers. This one, by no means, has that problem. I did a video with this thing. You guys seen what it'll do. I did some hard use with this thing, and it's great. But the other fella, he got the same knife, and the lock fails. Folks, this is not a cheap knife. It's not a 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 knife. This is not a cheap knife. Now, I realize there's probably a pretty good possibility y'all gonna get tired of seeing this one. But to be honest, I hate it for you. I love this thing. I did some trading with Brother Aaron over at 865 Knives, and this was my side of the trade, and I could not be happier with this knife. And she is absolutely jam up and jelly tight, folks. Sea Dragon Burr. Now, in my K75 collection, this one is the pinnacle. In my absolutely gorgeous E.D. Leathersworks case, slip doohickey, made by Georgia Adventurer. Shout out Georgia Adventure. Check out that pretty thing. Oh my goodness, the CV still on it, starting to patina up real good. I've used the clip point on it more than the others so far, which is unusual for me. So it's teetering quicker. But my goodness gracious, getting a little bit on the spade blade. And once again, jam up, jelly tight, folks. I love it. This is my favorite case knife. And this one was acquired through a trade with Brother Terry at Terry's Knives and Man Stuff. So, Cornbread, what are you talking about? What's the problem? First off, nobody in the manufacturing world has zero defects. It's impossible. Well, maybe not impossible, but very highly improbable. But the problem here is that the quality issues getting out to the public with case they've been ramping up. They're not doesn't seem to be getting better. And I'm a case fan. Okay? It doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems like it's getting worse. So, the reason I'm making this, I went to my local case dealer today. It's a big, really nice shop. I put up a community post about that earlier today. And I sold one of my big old clanker fixed blades. I mean, because who needs that many gigantic knives? Well, I do, but I didn't need that many. So anyway, I go to this, the case dealer, and we're doing some wheeling and dealing and things, and I wound up getting a Cherry. But more on that later. All right, this knife I bought today, I'll tell you this much. It's a case, it's a Tony Bose, okay? And had I not sold that big knife, would I pay that kind of money for something just because it's got TB stamped in the blade? No. Because like I say, I'm a user. I'm a collector. But anyway, this lady has 3 of this pattern and model in stock. And she got all 3 out for me. And, you know, the Tony Bose series, you know, you're supposed to be getting into some better quality stuff and whatnot, right? Two of the three had, for the price, ridiculous gaps in the scales, between the scales and liners. And both of them had hideous blade alignment. And one of them had a blade that I could wiggle and jiggle side to side, probably about close to a 1/16 of an inch. That's a lot. But luckily, one of the three was absolutely perfect. And before I carry this knife, I'm going to do a couple little shorts or maybe a little 2-minute video or whatever on it. If somebody's out there is really into this Tony Bose stuff and the limited edition stuff and all that kind of thing, if you got something really cool you want to trade, you can trade me out of it. I got enough respect for the collector community and whatnot out there. I'll give somebody an opportunity to own this knife brand new. But if it don't happen real fast, it's gonna get carried. What this video is for: companies like Shepherd's Hill, Deadwood Knives, people that distribute case pocket knives, case knives. I don't buy a lot of new case knives. I do a lot of trading, a lot of used case knives. But of the ones I've bought new in the last 5 years, they're batting about 500. Now, if you guys don't remember, if you haven't seen it, I did a video on a case Kinzua that I bought. And it's S35V knife. I mean, it's a really nice knife. Tonto blade. Really sweet knife. Anyway, I buy this knife, and my first impressions out of the box were like, oh man, I love this knife. I did a couple of shorts with it and things. Well, I decided I carried that knife 2 times. And while carrying it, just opening and closing, I might have cut something with it. I don't know. The blade developed this terminal side-to-side wiggle in it that was insane. So I contacted Case, and I asked Case, I said, okay, you know, this is a modern style knife. It has screws. You can tighten it up. He said, okay if I tighten it, because, you know, I don't want you to have no fairy dust down in them holes or something, and if there's something wrong with it and I tighten it up, you have no warranty. And they were like, sure, go ahead, try tightening it up, see if you can get it tuned the way you like it and get the blade wiggle out of there, the blade wobble side to side, you know, all that. So I tightened it up, and it stayed tight for probably a couple of days. I carried it one more time, and it got loose as a goose again. Well, that Kinzua has bearings and phosphorus bronze washers in it, or they're supposed to. This one didn't. Well, long story short, it's a frame lock knife. I was having some trouble with the lockup, and it's just the machining was just, overall, the knife was a train wreck. Overall. Now, if it had just been missing the washers and the tuning and all, that doesn't qualify as a train wreck. It leaves with that problem, plus the lockup on it. I mean, it was ridiculous. The machining wasn't right. That's why I call it a train wreck. So Case replaces the Kinzua. I get the Kinzua in. I'm checking it out. Checked it out for a while. Never really carried it. And it seemed to be great until I traded it. Well, the guy who got it, great knife. I appreciate it, man, blah, 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 blah. Well, he's got it for like a week, and the screws back out and won't stay tightened in the belt clip. So the saga continues. So there are a lot of companies like Deadwood Knives, Shepherd's Hill, places like that really rely on online sales. Okay? I'm not buying any more case knives unless I have my hands on them. And I mean, like some of these knives I've mentioned, you know, the Longhouse. The one guy on here did the video that his lockup was failing with less than 5 pounds. You know, that's dangerous. I mean, you're talking stickers territory. On Case's website, the Case Longhouse carries a $189 MSRP. The Case Kanzua, $144. Now, a knife is a blade that's either fixed or folding, locking, whatever, that folds into a handle. It's not rocket science to do quality checks on this stuff. But obviously, the people at Case and myself don't think the same way. The goal should always be 0 customer complaints, 0 defects out the door. Is that going to happen in the real world? No. You're going to get lemons in anything you buy. But with the demise of so many American knife manufacturers, just in the last few years, one of the last ones to go was Ontario. They've been around. I mean, you're talking about the longevity of Case. Their knives were not as expensive as Case knives, but they made a really good product. And to my knowledge, everything I owned right up until the end, and the stuff I still get occasionally that's new stock, new old stock before they close the doors, is still excellent quality. I have never gotten an Ontario knife that was a train wreck. But with the economy and everything the way it is now, you got to run a fairly tight ship. Can you imagine what's going to happen if this goes out and Shepherd Hills ends up, they start losing all their online orders and Deadwood Knives and all these distributors of Case, and the word starts getting thicker on the street about Case, and with their overhead and employees and their we don't need another piece of Americana as far as business going out of business. And at best case scenario, if that doesn't happen, you're going to wind up with Case. They're going to have to start stamping. They're going to have to stamp down their quality. They're going to have to cut their production rates. And you know what's going to happen then, right? Yep, that $75 trapper is going to become a $150 trapper. Either that or Case is going to have to become like one of the little boutique makers. Somebody like GEC. GEC makes a very limited number of knives, numbered knives, and they have drops. When they're gone, they're gone. Now, I don't own any GEC, so I cannot attest to the quality and all that thing. From what I see online, they make some really awesome, high-quality knives. But for me, like I say, I'm a user. And $300 for a slip joint knife, that's not in my thing, But then again, you get what you pay for, right? Does that mean if Case starts cutting all their quality defects and whatnot, you're going to still get what you pay for? So, as much I want Case to live on for my great grandkids, it's a piece of Americana, and I want them to remain strong. I'm not making this video or talking about this in any way to slight or hurt Case, okay? That's not my thing, okay? If I had to pick one brand of knife, you can only have this one brand of knife anymore. It's gonna be Case. But if Case goes by the wayside, you know what's gonna happen to these GECs and these other knives? Yeah, they're gonna become even more unattainable. It's kind of like Case, this whole, well, if you buy this trapper, this premium name trapper, then yeah, it's going to cost you more because it's a lot higher quality. Well, I'm telling you, that is one of your first problems. Because you've seen it, and I've seen it over and over again, when you have a company that makes a product and the product is virtually the same as the one that you're getting that's higher quality, but costs twice as much. Can you imagine GEC? They have a $300 knife. Well, you can also buy this knife, but it's going to be a raving piece of crap. But it's only $100. Do you see that happening? These knives, the blades are stamped out. Everything is made the same, no matter what level you're making it. The big difference here is quality control. Is a knife that costs twice as much because it has Tony Bowes wrote on it or something? Is it a better knife? Does it have besides having TB stamped in the blade? Is it made differently? Do they use different machines to insert the pins and put on the scales and the liners and assemble this knife? No. It's all the same freaking process. Now, it might get rubbed on a little more. It might get a little bit better quality control, which is the key word for the day. But the manufacturing process is virtually the same. You know, how do you explain say $200 knife, and this one is absolutely perfect in my opinion, and then you got just as many people saying, oh, there's problems with this, problems with that, problems with this, problems with that, because you didn't open it and look at it and wiggle the blade and check it. You know, I do a lot of content on stuff like this little Rosecraft Beaver Creek Barlow that was gifted me by Brian's Knives. Give you a shout out one way or the other, brother. And a lot of people give these knives down the road a bad name. Oh, China knives. And another one of the ones I really love, like this gorgeous, and did I say perfect, Hawkbill Rough Rider. Well, hey, Cornbread, don't you know that is a beautiful, flawless knife? But you know, by buying that knife, you're putting Americans, businesses, and American workers out of business. No, I'm not. American businesses are doing a fine job all by themselves of putting themselves out of business. Do I prefer to support an American company with my dollars? Absolutely. There is zero question. All right. But let me ask you this. Let's just say that somebody comes up and gives you the offer of a lifetime. Hey, person X, tell you what we're going to do. Case is such a treasured company and everything. I plan on putting my money where my mouth's at. So let's do this. You pick Case and I'll pick Rough Rider. And we'll bet on how many defects per 1,000 come off their assembly lines and make it to their customers. And if you win, you get $1 million. If you lose your life. Ain't nobody gonna bet their life on that. As much as I love Case knives, the reason I bought this knife, I have been disappointed many times with Case quality ordering online. All right, I have ordered and been gifted 17 Rough Riders. Out of that 17, do you know how many I've got that had really bad quality defects or any quality defects at all? 0. The Case quality and dependability that used to be around in the old days ain't the same anymore. What happened? I don't know. You see, I'm kind of wondering, did this really get started? And did it really start becoming a problem when Case became owned by Zippo? Yeah, Zippo owns Case. Case don't own Zippo. Well, I know it sure wasn't a fact when I was a kid and the generation before me buying a Case knife. You bought a Case knife, it's a forever knife. You keep it in your pocket until you either lose it or sharpen the blades off of it. I want to see Case get things straight. Like I say, I'm a fan of Case. I was a fan of Ontario. I love buck knives. And over a period of time, you know, Schrade started having some of their knives made in Asia. Well, the next thing you know, the rumor mill gets about the knife community. Like, you know, they're making part of their knives in Asia now. You know, And the next thing you know, all their knives are made in Asia. Except now they have a small line made in America that's far more expensive. So for the foreseeable future, as much as I hate it, and I don't order enough case knives to hurt anybody, but I will not be ordering any more online. If I can't go put my hands on them, inspect them, and buy the one I want, I'm just not going to do it. It's not worth it to me. Yeah, can you send it back? Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I want to buy a product that you can depend on the quality time after time. And maybe every now and then you get one that's not perfect. So I'm hoping, I've been looking at a knife pattern that I really like. It's a larger knife, of course, it's me. And I looked at my local distributor today when I did my wheeling and dealing. And they have many different color variations and whatnot. But I'm hoping that if everything works out good, I'm going to be going to Blade Show next month. And while I'm there, I'm not going to put anything in stone. I've got X amount of dollars, and I'm going to see what speaks to me. Because I was really planning to go on Shepherd Hills and buy this knife that I'm not going to now. And if I go to Blade Show and I don't find anything that just speaks to me, then my local case dealer has the one I wanted all along. Anyway, I'll just go get it. Is it the end of the world that I have to spend an hour to work on a blade to get it in ship shape condition and acceptable and sharp and usable? Because I'm gonna use this. Okay? No. I mean, I've done it before. I'll probably do it again sometime, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But if I pay the price for a brand new knife, and then I got to spend an hour of my time making it a brand new knife, an acceptable brand new knife, shouldn't Case owe me an hour's labor? Yeah, I'll take that partial reimbursement. I hope they get it squared away, but either way, it's going to hurt the business one way or the other. I hope they get it squared away because I love Case. I want to see them come back to their former quality abilities and be a profitable and viable company for hundreds of years to come. But what do you guys think? Am I going overboard with this? Am I barking up the wrong tree? That'd be like karma. I don't know. I just think if you buy something that's new and it's supposed to be this quality and it's not that quality, and 5 out of every 10 is like that, that's a problem. If you'd like to, chime into the comments and let me know. I keep making these videos and I keep editing for little shortcuts, and I come back and cut and come back and cut, because I enough to where this video would be 4 hours long if I didn't do that. Well, just clip, blip, blop, and put your letters down there in the comments and let me know what you think. Am I stupid? I got thick skin. Coco thinks I'm stupid. Excuse me, Cooper. Until I talk to you folks again, I hope y'all have a great day, great night, great week. Whenever you're watching, boy, that is so cliche, but that's just what comes out my mouth every time. Until next time, peace and God bless. Yeah.